Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin might have just played out a price trap as we did attempt to break out above this crucial line on the price chart, but not yet confirming a candle close above the line, and now starting to reject from this line on the price chart like what we saw back in February entering into March this year. So this is something that we need to pay attention to while we are now perfectly rejecting from my exact resistance in the short term, but I'm still currently in my Bitcoin trading strategy, still making profits in the market. So in just a moment, I'll be sharing with you exactly how I'm planning to make a lot of quick and easy profits in the crypto market with the next Bitcoin move just now starting, while the price of Ethereum is also perfectly rejecting from my exact short-term resistance, while the price of Solana is getting close to invalidating this short-term bullish divergence. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger or longer term bull market. But on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, obviously we still have this massive bearish divergence, technically only reconfirmed around 1 to 2 weeks ago, which I've been talking about every day over the last 1 to 2 weeks. And so once again, as I've said many times, despite what happens on smaller time frames, pretty much ignore that price action, because if we're talking about over the next 1 month or so, it's still very likely either way that we're going to at best play out a larger sideways consolidation, so choppy sideways price action, but quite possibly a continued pullback within the next few weeks or within the next 1 month is a very likely outcome. And so as always, understand the difference between the different time frames. I still get some comments on these videos saying if I'm talking about bullish or bearish price action, some people saying that I'm saying the price is going to go either up or down in the videos, but obviously those people are not understanding the difference between the different time frames. For example, in the short term, we could maybe play out a short-term bullish divergence over a period of days, while a larger bearish divergence plays out over a period of weeks or months. And so that's not me saying the price could either go up or down. That's two completely different time frames telling you that the price could likely go maybe up in the short term, down within the next few weeks. And so with that explained, once again, still expect a lot of weakness over the next few weeks or over the next 1 month is a very likely outcome, lacking bullish momentum. And if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin price chart, technically speaking, we're still seeing quite similar price action right now. And of course, over the last few weeks compared to what we saw near the end of 2024, entering into early 2025. But as I've also said many times here on the channel, that would potentially start to invalidate and flip a little bit more bullish in the short term if we see a confirmed breakout with at least a daily candle close, ideally multiple daily candle closes above this line right here, which is currently sitting at just above 110k, considering it's an ascending line of previous support now acting as new resistance and obviously slowly climbing in price. But right now it's sitting at roughly 110,500, and obviously in order to confirm a breakout, we need to see at least a daily candle close and then actually hold above that, hold it as new support in order to confirm the breakout back above that line on the price chart. And in that situation, that would be a clear deviation from what we saw last time, and obviously at least a short-term bullish signal. But once again, as I said earlier in the video, understand the difference between the different time frames. Even if we were to see a confirmed breakout above this line right here, yes, that could be a short-term bullish signal for maybe a few days, maybe a week, but only in the short term, potentially still within a much larger sideways price range, consolidating sideways, still showing a lot of weakness, lacking bullish momentum. If we're talking about, say, the weekly time frame, still playing out this much larger bearish divergence. And so once again, the larger time frames are more important than the smaller time frames. So ultimately, that's still what I expect over the next few weeks or months. But based on what we do at this line right here, that could determine what could be likely in the following days or maybe over the next week or so. And once again, at least for now, we've not yet confirmed a breakout. In fact, we're currently rejecting from that level, flipping previous support into new resistance, which is not a good sign to see, especially if we confirm this current candle right here, this current daily candle in the red. Because obviously if that ultimately happens, if we confirm this rejection, and especially if we start breaking below this previous low in the price, especially this candle wick low, in that situation, obviously we're still repeating what we saw last time around February entering into March, which is pointing towards a continued pullback in the short term over the next couple of weeks. And so this is really Bitcoin's last chance to potentially try to get back above this line, because if we continue to struggle, continue to reject here in the next couple of days, then that basically secures the fact that it's very likely we're going to see a further pullback in the coming weeks here in the somewhat shorter term. And if we're taking a quick look at the shorter term here on the 4-hour time frame, we can see that right now the price of Bitcoin perfectly rejected from this resistance that I shared in my last video. I said in my last video, the price is now running into some short-term resistance at roughly 111.7k to 112k, and now obviously we've perfectly rejected from that resistance. And even if we saw a breakout here, the next significant resistance was sitting at roughly 116,000. But considering the fact that we're seeing a clear rejection from this resistance, and of course a clear rejection from this line on the price chart on the daily time frame, which is an important line to pay attention to, we can now pretty much say that this bullish divergence is over. Now, we've not technically confirmed an invalidation signal, which means if we bounce immediately, very soon, it's possible we could continue to play out the bullish divergence. But overall, I'd not really rely on this bullish divergence too much longer, considering it's only on the 4-hour time frame, and usually a bullish divergence or bearish divergence on the 4-hour chart usually only lasts for just a few days anyway, and it's already been about 3 days of this playing out. And so when it comes to my Bitcoin trading strategy, of course, I'm still currently in my Bitcoin trading strategy, still currently sitting in profits, because as I've been explaining over the last half a week or so, this current trading strategy that I'm in will profit pretty much no matter what the price does, for as long as the price of Bitcoin doesn't just have a straight line towards the downside all the way below, say, 70,000 or below 40,000, because basically this grid range right here for the trading strategy, the low end is 70,000. So if it goes below 70,000, it'll stop buying Bitcoin. And then of course my liquidation price for this trade, considering it's a futures trade with just a 5x leverage, my liquidation price is at roughly around 43,000. So basically, in order for me to lose on this trading strategy, it has to have basically almost a straight line towards the downside below $43,000 per Bitcoin without seeing any sort of decent bounce or a recovery in between. And so obviously that's not impossible, but it's very unlikely going to happen like that. So even if we see a continued pullback here in the next few weeks, maybe in a few weeks from now or a month from now, we could end up seeing another recovery in the price back towards the upside, whether we bounce from right here or if we bounce from 90k, 70k, either way, this trading strategy will make money on the next decent bounce. And it doesn't matter really where that bounce is from, for as long as ideally it's around 70,000 or above. And so you can see on my Pinex account a bunch of buy and sell orders. So basically, as the price of Bitcoin continues dropping here, if we see a further pullback, it'll just buy more and more Bitcoin at lower prices. And because it's a grid bot trading strategy, a trading bot, it's fully automated. So the moment it buys Bitcoin at these lower prices, it also lowers these sell orders just above the price. So the moment we see a decent bounce, it already takes profit from the lower buy orders. And so that's still currently my trading strategy. That's simply sharing with you exactly how I'm planning to make profits from the next Bitcoin move, no matter if the move is a continued pullback and then maybe a recovery within the next few weeks, or if we see a decent bounce right now. Either way, this trading strategy will make money. But as always, not financial advice. I'm just simply sharing what I'm currently doing with my own money. And as always, no guarantees involved. So I can tell you what might be likely or unlikely, but no such thing as a guarantee. I can't guarantee returns for legal purposes. But with that being said, of course, if you want to copy this trading strategy for yourself, do your own research. But there is a link below the video. In fact, the second link below this video will take you to this page right here, where you can copy this exact trading strategy of mine with a single click of a button. But in order to actually copy this trading strategy, you first need to actually have a Pinex account, which I'm currently trading on for this trading strategy. You have to make a Pinex account, and you have to actually make an account using one of the links below the video to Pinex to actually copy this trade. Unfortunately, if you click this copy button without making a Pinex account using one of the links below the video, the copy button simply will not work. And if you use the first link below this video to Pinex, that link will actually take you to this page right here, where you can claim a bunch of bonuses just by simply making an account using that link. So for example, if you make an account, complete KYC, you get a 50 USDT bonus. And there's also deposit bonuses. If you deposit just $100, you get a $100 bonus. If you deposit 10,000, you get a 1,000 USDT bonus into your Pinex account. Essentially free money from the exchange just by simply making deposits, or simply just by completing KYC if you want to do that to claim these bonuses here. But once again, these bonuses are only available if you're using the link below the video to actually make your Pinex account. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check it out. Once again, first and second link below the video. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map right now, we still have a lot of liquidity above the price of Bitcoin at around 112k, slightly above 112k, and also at roughly 116k and slightly above 116,000. And so obviously with that latest bullish move over the last few days, we did not actually fully wipe out that liquidity, which means it's possible that maybe in the next couple of days or so, it's possible possible we could try to come back up towards that liquidity, but do remember, before we can reach those levels of liquidity, we have these points of resistance to watch out for, like for example around 111.7k, just under 112k, acting as resistance, which I talked about in my last video before the rejection. And even if we break out above that, we have more resistance at close to 116,000, really slightly above and slightly underneath 116,000, around 115.8k as well. And so overall, those are the key levels and the key signals to watch out for in the short term for the price of Bitcoin to decide what could potentially happen in the next couple of weeks or so. But overall, if we're talking about, say, the next 1 month, it's still very likely that despite whatever happens on smaller time frames, it's likely we're going to be lacking bullish momentum, still showing a lot of weakness on the much larger time frames. And if you actually want to trade these moves using long positions or short positions, not these trading bots like what I'm doing right now over on Pinex, then personally for longs and shorts and things like that, I personally like to use 2bit as another exchange out there that I also use. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below the video, and if you use that link, it'll take you to this page where you can also claim massive bonuses, for example up to 10,000 USDT in trial funds and 8,000 USDT in withdrawable stablecoins. So once again, just free money from the exchange just by simply making an account, making a deposit and trading crypto using the link. So if you're going to be doing that anyway, you might as well take advantage of these bonuses here using the link below the video, the third link below the video. And also, in case you're wondering, without making any deposits or any trades, you can get a free 30 USDT bonus and 1 month free VIP3 upgrade. So basically very cheap trading fees and free money from the exchange just by making an account using that link. So once again, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well take advantage of this. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the daily time frame, and right now, and as I've been saying every day for around a month now on the channel, since around mid-September onwards, we're very likely going to see at least a slight bullish relief moving forward in the Bitcoin dominance as a result of this bullish divergence. And so obviously that is still playing out, which means continue to expect a lot of the altcoin market on average to at least slightly underperform Bitcoin, to do a bit worse than whatever Bitcoin is doing, but somewhat similar price action, not necessarily much worse, but a bit worse than what Bitcoin is doing is a likely scenario for most major altcoins out there. But if this bullish relief continues to play out, if the bullish divergence continues to play out in the Bitcoin dominance, then of course, at some point, we could likely run into this resistance here in between 60.5% to 61% in the Bitcoin dominance. And if that happens again, it's possible we could start to struggle or possibly reject from that level, which means, of course, if we see another rejection like what we saw just here, that means a lot of altcoins can be outperforming Bitcoin. But for now, because we're not at that resistance yet, it's still quite likely we'll continue to see a little bit more of a bullish relief in the Bitcoin dominance. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, right now the price of ETH is getting extremely close to confirming a break to the downside below this very important area of support, sitting in between around 3.9k to 4.1k. And in fact, as of recording the video, the price is trading ever so slightly below 3.9k, but not yet actually confirming a 3-day candle close below this level. So we still need to wait for confirmation here. But obviously things are not really looking too good in terms of the strength for the price action, the strength of the price structure. Things are obviously starting to look a little bit more bearish and bullish, especially if we're talking about the lower lows and the lower highs. That is simply the situation right now for Ethereum. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, technically we've not yet invalidated this bullish divergence, which means it's possible we could continue chopping around sideways, which is basically what we've been doing, just chopping around sideways over the last week or so. But if we start to actually break to the downside here in the RSI, and of course in the price below these lows, but especially in the RSI, if we see a breakdown in the RSI, then ultimately that'll be an invalidation signal telling us the bullish divergence is over. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term on the 8-hour time frame, we can see that over the last 1 day, the price perfectly rejected from my exact area of resistance that I warned about before the rejection, and that's sitting in between around 40.60 to 4.1k. And so we can see the moment the price entered into that exact area, we perfectly rejected from that area, as you can see right here. But even if we saw a short-term breakout above that area, we still had a lot of resistance as well to watch out for at around 42.50 to 42.80. And so it's possible that right now the price of ETH is on its way towards testing some points of support. First of all, it's possible we could find a very small amount of support at roughly 38.50 give or take to 38.60. But if we continue a bit more of a pullback here, the next significant area of support to watch out for, at least in the short term, is sitting in between around 37.20 to 37.60. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 2-day time frame, right now the price of Solana is also perfectly rejecting from this area, currently acting as resistance, sitting in between around 190 to 200. So continue to expect a lot of struggle and a lot of resistance in that area right there. And as for support, if we see a little bit more of a pullback here, expect a lot of support in between roughly 170 to 175. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 8-hour Solana price chart right now, as I've recorded in the video, the 8-hour Solana RSI is getting extremely close to possibly seeing a break to the downside below this ascending line of support, below basically the support set in place by these two previous lows. And so we've not yet actually confirmed the invalidation as of recording this video, but based on the current direction of the price, if that simply continues even for the next few hours, over the next half a day, it's possible that this could very soon invalidate, because if we see a breakdown here in the RSI below this line of support, and especially below a previous low in the RSI, those are strong invalidation signals telling us the bullish divergence has already played its part and is now over. And so that's definitely a key signal to watch out for in the shorter term, in the coming hours, over the next one day. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, technically, despite what happens on smaller time frames, we're still playing out this massive bearish divergence, showing a lot of weakness, lacking bullish momentum on the much larger time frames, which is what I've been saying every day for months now on the channel. Click pretty much any one of my videos here on the channel over the last multiple months from around the end of July onwards. You can see me talking about and warning about this massive bearish divergence, telling you we're most likely going to see a major pullback in the next few months. So obviously that's still playing out as predicted. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term, technically we still have that short-term bullish divergence, which for now has not yet invalidated, which means it's possible we could continue perhaps a sideways consolidation for a little bit. But as always, we need to consider what Bitcoin and other altcoins are doing. So for example, if Bitcoin continues this rejection in the coming hours and in the coming days, then of course it's going to be unlikely for XRP to play out some major bullish price action while Bitcoin and other major altcoins are playing out these short-term pullbacks. So as always, just pay attention to what Bitcoin is doing to figure out what is likely going to happen for a lot of the major altcoins. And so right now it is looking like we're about to retest this area on the price chart, which should be acting as support in between around $2.30 to $2.40. And if we break below that area, we could find a small amount of support at around $2.20 based on this candle week low right here. But ultimately the next significant support towards the downside, if we break below all of those levels, is sitting at around $2.05. And as for resistance, I would expect significant resistance at roughly around $2.60, and the price almost hit that level. We got within just a few cents, around 5 cents of $2.60, and started to struggle around that level. So obviously still expect a lot of resistance at close to $2.60, and of course we did even reject slightly underneath that level, as I just said. But if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a very similar situation for Chainlink right now as what I just said for XRP on the daily time frame. We're technically still within a bearish trend for XRP, and of course Chainlink forming lower highs and lower lows. But just for the last few days, and potentially moving forward, because it's not yet invalidated, but especially over the last few days, we have been playing out a short-term bullish relief as a result of this bullish divergence, which has already confirmed and is technically still active. We've not yet confirmed an invalidation signal to invalidate this bullish divergence, which means it's possible, once again, it could continue to play out for a little longer, maybe in the form of some choppy sideways price action, maybe in the form of a slight bullish relief. But it's important to understand that a bullish divergence by itself does not necessarily mean a massive bullish trend reversal. So it's possible we could just play out a slight little relief, a bit of a break from all of the bearish price action during the larger bearish trend. And when it comes to support and resistance to watch out for, of course, right now we're potentially retesting this level, which could act as a bit of short-term support at roughly 1750, give or take. And as for further support towards the downside, if we continue a bit more of a pullback here, I would expect a lot of support in between around 1520 to 1570 approximately, and a lot of resistance in between around $19.50 to $20, which obviously the price got very close to $19.50 over the last one day and started to reject slightly under that resistance. And so overall, that's what I expect in the shorter term, the signals to watch out for, the key levels to watch out for, and the current trend for Chainlink and all of these other crypto assets. And of course, my exact trading strategy, sharing with you exactly how I'm planning to make profits in this crypto market. And once again, if you want to take trades just like this, check out the links below the video, especially the first and second link below the video, if you want to actually copy this trading strategy that I'm currently using myself, or if you want to take other trades, once again, third link below the video to 2bit. And if you want to actually know how you can take these trades for yourself, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.